Welcome to Smithville Stadium once again, and welcome into Game 2 of the Class 6A Championship. The 33-3, coincidentally, third-ranked Oak Grove Warriors and the Madison Central Jaguars, winners of 8 of 9, now 25-10 on the season. I'm Josh West, so glad to have you with us here tonight, and what a story we have unfolding. As we look out onto the mound right now, we see the big left-hander Zach Irwin, the Division I signee with the Ole Miss Rebels, taking the bump for the first time in over a month. Through a soft bullpen session on Monday, probably at 80 to 85% of fastball when healthy that is touching 90, will probably be in the low to mid 80s tonight, but you still have to go with the one that has been so dominant throughout his career. As we look at the Oak Grove batting order for the top of the first inning, Kurt McCarty, the Game 1 winner, he'll lead things off and play in right field. This is the lineup that we're looking at with Maddox on the mound. That is what Coach McCardle calls his best defensive lineup, with Stanlin at short, Brinson behind the plate, and then Odom at third. Chauvin is in center, Bounds over at first, and then Sander the DH. Worley is at second base tonight for that Oak Grove Warrior lineup, and as you see them 1 through 9 in the batting order. Madison Central defensively, as we look across their lineup, you'll see Sanders in left, Glenn in center, Broyles in right, Chisholm at third, Miller's at short, Morgan at second, Berry at first, Harbor behind the plate. And then you see that lineup, Morgan, Harbor, Sanders, Glenn, Chisholm, Berry, Miller, Barlow, Broyles is how they'll bat in the bottom of the first inning. So here we go, first pitch and game action in over a month. And we've got a very solid crowd here tonight, and the first pitch pumped in for a first pitch strike. And that one came in with a little bit of adrenaline. How about 89 miles per hour on that fastball, as Kurt McCarty is in an 0-1 hole. Showing bunt, pulling back, there's strike two, and that one hit 90 on the gun. So much for maybe being mid-80s, as Zach Irwin is, needless to say, fired up for this one. Madison going for their third baseball title, trying to add to their titles from 2002 through 2009. To do that, they've got to force a game 3. That means win tonight, do or die for Madison Central. For Oak Grove, they can clinch the program's 10th state championship in this game, as the count is now evened at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the wind kind of came out of the sails of this team when Zach went down. It was a huge mental blow to this team, as McCarty goes the opposite way. Fair down the left field line. This one going to be cut off. Falling down, losing his footing is Sanders. And Kurt McCarty, the sophomore, will cruise in with a stand-up double here in the top of the first inning. But again, going back to what we were saying about this being such a mental blow for this team, the team had to rally and regroup. That was after the Game 1 loss in the playoffs to Olive Branch, where they committed 6 errors on what Coach Ray referred to, and the team backed him up on this. Not hard plays, routine type plays that led to the loss to Olive Branch. Here's a bunt popped up, and this one going to curl back into the stands about 15 rows up. And so the fans get to try to make a highlight reel for each other in the stands. But the thing about this is not the majors. You can't keep that baseball. You've got to return it to the dugout. So somebody will get to be runner towards the Madison Central dugout. McCarty at second base. Here's Drew Stanlin, and Stanlin takes a pitch up high. 1 ball and 1 strike to Drew Stanlin. His dad is actually one of the directors of the Pride of Mississippi marching band at Southern Miss. It's been neat to get to know his family. His dad, though, had to, as here's this bunt pop back, his dad was one of the ones that had to quickly get a hold of the pep band at the NCAA tournament when the chant was made that led to 5 dismissals, and that was all blown out of proportion, but it could have been worse, and Dr. Stanlin did a great job to get that under control in about 5 seconds. That's a shame. 5 seconds can change your life, and boy, did it. Here's Stanlin here. Ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss by Stanlin. He goes down swinging. And so Drew is retired, and there is 1 away. 90 is what Irwin is pumping it in there as, the big left-hander. And you can see why this guy physically transitions to the next level. We know he's not 100%, but he's still coming out, and he is a fastball pitcher. He's got a 12-6 breaking ball. And then he also has a changeup, which, talking to Brian Ray before the game, you might see that changeup more tonight than they have used throughout the season. Jerry Dupuis, the pitching coach of Madison Central. Here's the 1-0. And that one is in for a strike, and the count is even here to Court Brinson. Court Brinson, the big power hitter in this Oak Grove lineup. A guy who can make it happen at any moment with one swing of the bat. He's had so many good moments through this postseason. You go back to the Gulfport game. One particular hit was an RBI double. That's what he's capable of at any moment. Turn back by Irwin, throw back to second base. Miller slipping back in behind Kirk McCarty. It's an interesting night of sleep Tuesday night before game one. He woke up 3 separate times during the night with nightmares of getting shelled. And then he comes out and just shuts down Madison Central. Here's a ground ball pushed to first, routine play for Berry, and Brinson is retired on the ground out that advances McCarty to third base. But to have those type of panic attacks and to be able to come out and handle your business to the degree in which he did was very, very special. 8 strikeouts, scattering 4 hits, and getting the shutout. Here's Irwin. Fastball at 92. So his legs might be not 100%, but that arm is rested and ready, and the adrenaline is pumping through his veins. 1-0 pitch, slapped in the gap to right field, cut off by Broyles, but a run will score. A big turnaround first by Odom, but a 2-out RBI single, and Oak Grove has grabbed a 1-0 lead. So a great start by Oak Grove, another South Mississippi team grabbing a 1-0 lead with a chance to win a state championship on the line. Didn't work out so well for Purvis, though, in our 4 o'clock game. They went up 1-0 and then gave up 8 unanswered, 3 in the bottom of the first, 5 in the bottom of the second, as Christian Chauvin, the center fielder, stands in for an Oak Grove team that worked their way through the 5A bracket over Harrison Central, Gulfport, Terry, to get to where they are. Here's a throw up towards second base, and it squirts into center field. Glenn's going to scoop and throw, and not in time. Chauvin going to swipe second and then get to third, or rather, Odom going to swipe second and get to third with Chauvin looking on. And that Oak Grove crowd that you see, very energetic. You've got that Oak Grove student section right there off camera, and then across the field, you've got that Madison Central student section clad in orange. Here's one line to the second baseman, extension by Morgan to end the inning and limit the damage. But 1 run on 2 hits. There was 1 error, and there was 1 left on base. A half inning in the books. Chris Morgan, Lee Harbor, Austin Sanders, 1, 2, 3 due up for Madison Central in the bottom of the first inning. Let's set that defense for you for Oak Grove. You've got Colton McMurray, which will be over in left field. In center will be Chauvin, who just lined out to second. Then over in right field will be Kirk McCarty, who plated the game's first run after that leadoff double down the left field line to start the ball game. Then at third base, it'll be Tyler Odom. At second base, it will be Mark Worley. Rolling back to short will be Drew Stanlin. At first base, Jansen Bounds. And then Court Brinson behind the plate. And then on the mound is Brandon Maddox. Brandon Maddox, very solid pitcher for this Oak Grove baseball team. A guy who was a senior and a guy who has not necessarily had to get the innings that you might would have thought before the season that he would get. An Oak Grove team that has had to develop pitching as the season has gone on. And so Maddox has been a guy who they said, look, this guy's a senior, this guy's seasoned. All we need to do is just get him warmed up for this playoff run, and he's going to be there for us. He's a guy we don't have to worry about. And that has definitely been the case for Maddox. He delivered a one-hit shutout in a 10-0 clinching series win over Madison Central in the South State Championship to clinch this berth. And for Maddox, a 1.92 ERA. Opponents batting just 156 against him. He's worked in 43 2/3 of an inning, given up 13 runs, 12 earned on 21 hits, 40 strikeouts against 17 walks. Maddox, a 4-0 record on the year. First pitch swinging here, hit a ton into right field. McCarty, though, was playing deep, puts it away backpedaling, shy of the track in right. And Chris Morgan is retired on the deep fly ball, and it gives way to Lee Harbor. So Lee Harbor stands in with one away. But back to Maddox. He's worked 2 complete games this year. This his 10th appearance. And for Maddox, making his 4th start of the year, another pitch lifted into the outfield. This time it'll be Chauvin that puts it away. 2 pitches, 2 fly balls, and Austin Sanders quickly to the plate with the bases empty and 2 outs. After the great play by McCarty, Maddox making life pretty easy on himself. If Madison wants to hit the ball in the air, or maybe doesn't necessarily want to, but does, make life easy. Here's another pitch, a ground ball, in and out, as Worley hooks up with bounds to set down the Jags in order in the bottom of the 1st inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. 1 in the books, and it is Oak Grove 1, Madison Central nothing. As we move to the 2nd, we'll take a break. Back in a moment. You're watching the MHSAA Network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program and participate in the MHSAA network, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Smithwell Stadium here in Jackson, Mississippi. Madison Central and Oak Grove. Game 2 of the 6A Best of 3 title series. And you look out onto the hill and see Zach Irwin, the big left-hander, the Ole Miss signee, who was hitting 92 on the gun with his fastball in that 1st inning, has not pitched in over a month, and comes out and is hitting as high as he has all season. Isn't that amazing what that pent-up energy, that rested arm and adrenaline will do for your fastball? After Cole Barlow worked 4 innings, giving up 6 hits, 4 walks, and a hit batter to fall to 4-5. Madison Central goes with a guy who has been day-to-day for weeks, and he deals a first pitch changeup to Jansen Bounds. Jansen Bounds, Brandon Maddox, John Carter Sander, the DH. Young kid who has worked his way into the lineup. Here's a ground ball back to the pitcher. Irwin has it. Underhand flips over to Barry, and there is one away. So Brandon Maddox now, the pitcher, gets a chance to come on and set something up. If he were to reach, you would almost 100% see a courtesy runner come in for him. Oak Grove has been so sharp after a loss to Gulfport a couple of rounds back. And I was looking through the bracket here in 6A, and my bracket I copied, pasted, tried to print it on one page. But the bracket got clipped onto 2 pages, so I'll get you Oak Grove's run in a moment as Maddox puts a jolt in another baseball that slices foul and hops right up into the bullpen area that is currently vacant for the Warriors. But Oak Grove went through Harrison Central, Gulfport, and Biloxi. So that's been their trip here to the state championship round. 0-2. A pitch, a breaking ball to see if Maddox would be overly aggressive in chase. He was not. But Maddox trying to be 5-0 when his season is done, and a 34-3 record would be pretty impressive. A painful foul ball off the inside of the leg of Maddox to keep the count the same. And you look down the line and see a meeting of the minds. Coach McCardle coming over. Just a couple of words of advice and a little bit of strategy, but more a little something he might have seen, a little bit of positive words, maybe something that he's wanting Maddox to pick up on out of the hand. The pitch comes in. Fastball at 92. And the count evens. But when Irwin is throwing that fastball, it's kind of come get it, come catch up to it. Oak Grove's a very good fastball hitting team. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Came back with the curveball that fell off the end of the table. And Maddox goes down swinging on strikes. Second strikeout of the ball game for Irwin. We'll take a look at Irwin's numbers in the third inning. Irwin a 4-2 record on the season. We'll look at his numbers in the third. First pitch comes in, a called strike to Sander. The thing with Sander here, just a sophomore. So this is a guy who, with his size and his ability to create bat speed at his height, he's got a lot of room to put more muscle on that frame. Sander, the designated hitter for Colton McMurray. Here's the pitch. And that one down and away to move the count to 2-1. Two balls and a strike. 2 outs, bases empty. And again, Sander not offering 3-1. 2-out walk would bring up Mark Worley in the 9th spot in the lineup. Oak Grove getting a Kurt McCarty double to start the game. 3 pitches in and then a 2-out Tyler Odom RBI single. Here's a ground ball past the diving Miller at short and into left field. So the single for Sander. And here comes Mark Worley. Mark stands in, gets comfortable. A 360 hitter, grounds one to third. Chisholm firing, wild, error. Inning continues, and there are runners at second and third. 2 errors now for Madison Central. Six errors in a playoff opening loss to Olive Branch cost them that game. They came back in that series after losing game 1 to hammer Olive Branch 19-8 and then 16-7 in a Monday doubleheader after weather caused a rainout. But Madison sometimes this year has just been their own worst enemy. And Oak Grove, a team that is so solid, they're going to take advantage of mistakes. Ends up being a 2-base error for both runners. A base hit could triple the lead. And the count is 1-1 on Kurt McCarty, who's 1 for 1 on the day. McCarty, such a solid hitter. Team batting .340, he's at .295. Gets jammed on this one, grounds to first, and that'll end the inning, and the error does not hurt the Jags. Barry beats McCarty to the bag. The ground out means a run on a hit, 1 error, 2 left, and 2 in scoring position. 3 have been stranded in scoring position. through the first 2 innings for Oak Grove. And so as we transition to the bottom of the second inning, Madison Central will be sitting to the plate 4, 5, and 6 after being set down in order in the first on 3 pitches. A fly ball to right, a fly ball to center, and a ground out to second base. Well, Madison Central, if you had to look for a gut check moment, obviously it was that Olive Branch series that we've been talking about. But it was also back on April 7th. And it was a day where they played this very Oak Grove team. Oak Grove, by the way, they're 1-0 in this series. They're 2-0 this year against Madison Central. It was a 10-3 win. The second game of a day-night doubleheader for Madison. Madison also suffered a 15-0 beatdown to Petal. So Petal and Oak Grove teamed up to hang 25 runs on the Jags and send them back to Madison soul-searching. Well, they did. They got somewhat better heading into the playoffs. And then that playoff just shut down where Irwin gets hurt. That emotionally froze the team for that game. Thus the 6 errors, they were mentally out of it. Well, some seniors went to the Pine. Everybody started to come together and step up. 8 games later, Madison finds themselves having swept through the rest of the north half of the 6A playoffs and sitting in game 1. Now, in their last 3 appearances, they're just 1-3, sealing the deal. And their last championship win coming in 2009. The last time they were in a game 2, they had fallen 15-7 to that Petal team I was just mentioning to you. But they came back with 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to take game 2. They get a sac fly RBI by Ryan Bolden. And then Braden Jones scored the winning run from third on a wild pitch. And it set off a raucous celebration to force game 3. Unfortunately, in game 3, it was Petal that was able to wrap it up and seal the deal. 15-7. So I misspoke. It was a game 1 2-1 loss for Madison. And then the 6-5 win for Madison. Then Madison fell 15-7 out of pitching in game 3. So it's 2 balls and a strike to Isaac Glenn. Isaac Glenn, the senior, one of 7 seniors that will continue his career in the collegiate baseball ranks. We'll be talking about that as this broadcast goes along. He's one of the 7 that's going to go on and play, but 7 of the 9 have already committed to the next level. As Glenn on a 3-1 pitch had a green light and just missed a breaking ball. Got just a piece of it, and the count is now full. But to places like Millsaps, Belhaven, Mississippi Delta Community College, Ole Miss, Hines, and Jones. What a difference the open junior college recruiting has made. 3-2 pitch, pops straight up in foul ground. Shedding the face mask is Brinson, and he puts it away in foul territory. 4 retired in a row by Maddox and Oak Grove to start this ball game. And here comes Kurt Chisholm. So Madison, through 8 1/3 now, 4 total hits against McCarty and now Maddox. McCarty went to 7 innings in game 1. And a pitch comes in and nails Brinson, and Brinson is down. That's one of those ones that you just hate to see. They will give Brinson plenty of time to gather his thoughts. But as you can see, the agony. And again, we've got guys in the truck that are happy they're in the truck, guys behind the camera that are happy they're behind the camera. And it's why I attack a golf ball and not a baseball. Yeah, call me what you want. That is, baseball can be brutal. And so nice gestures by everybody, gamesmanship from everywhere. Coaches coming over to talk to umpires, opposing coaches talking to their players. Coach McCardle out to talk to his guys with the team trainers. And our crew, our home plate umpiring crew, being very, very sensitive to this situation because, quite frankly, it was a sensitive situation. Scott Adam, the home plate umpire, is there. letting him take his time. David Dilvazino is down at first. Jeffrey Mumford is over at third. And everybody else, all 17 of the other players on the field and in the dugouts that are taking part in this game, they, first of all, they can empathize with Brinson, and they also are glad that it's Brinson and not them. Oak Grove has just dominated this series this year. They've outscored Madison Central now 15-3 in a little bit better than 2 games. But as we were talking about before we began our broadcast, in baseball, anything can happen. In baseball is known for its theatrics, it's known for its stories, it's known for its great personalities and great individual performances, especially on the mound. And the performance that we could see tonight from Zach Irwin, with the velocity that he's got on his fastball tonight, it could inspire his teammates. But it's going to have to start here. It's going to have to start at the plate. I mentioned at the top of our last broadcast, Lewisburg and Purvis. Lewisburg needed to get something started early, and I just got to echo those sentiments here. Madison Central has to get something started early. Count now evens up at a ball and a strike to Kurt Chisholm. Chisholm will play at Jones Junior College as he slaps one to left field for a base hit. So the Jones Bobcat gets the base hit, and Kurt is over at first base with the single. And here comes John Morgan Berry. So Oak Grove the 1-0 lead, and so Madison finally gets a hit. That's just the 5th hit in this series as Berry, the first baseman, stands in. As afternoon and evening turns to night here in Jackson, and the lights are on, shining bright on what half the fans here hope is the first dog pile of the day. Greenville and Anawoya will go to game 3. Greenville St. Joe, that is, and then Lewisburg and Purvis will go to game 3. A 1 pitch and another base hit. Back-to-back singles off of Maddox for the Jaguars. Runners at first and second base. And here comes the shortstop, William Miller. William Miller now with a chance to make something happen for his team. Miller's numbers, I got to cover Madison Central for a game earlier this year. It was a 13-11 win for Ridgeland in that game at Madison on that Saturday afternoon. It's back in March, late March, March 31st. And I didn't remember Miller in the lineup. We'll pull Miller's numbers in a moment. First pitch breaking ball in for a strike. That one all the way down to 71 on the gun. Trying to pull Miller's numbers on the season. Miller batting .368, and he has been very productive. He's played in 31 games, so my memory is just failing me. We'll dive deeper into his stat line in a moment. 0-1 pitch, a check swing in the turf. And the count evens at 1-1. Miller, this is his 108th plate appearance, 32 hits, 18 RBI, 7 doubles, and a pair of home runs. So he has been there quite a lot. 13 strikeouts against 8 walks. The pitch, high and tight. So 2-1. Maddox leaning in from the stretch for the first time. Breaking ball that Miller was going to take for the team. 3-1. Madison wanting to put the pressure on Maddox here early. First true struggle we've seen for either pitcher. Good look at Brinson. He's back to what appears to be 100%. Fully engaged once again as he gives the signs to his infield. Sets the defense. 3-1, a called strike. best pitch so far for Maddox. And he had to have it. If not, he would have loaded the bases with one out. And Cole Barlow, the DH, is on deck. As the pitch comes in, ball 4, single, walk, bases loaded. Best chance of this series so far for Madison Central. And here comes Cole Barlow. 294 hitter. 20 RBI, 20 hits coming into the series. 4 doubles, 3 triples. And Maddox now has put himself into some trouble here in the top of the second inning as Barlow fouls straight back the first pitch that he sees. So 0-1. So now a good spot for Maddox to be in. What I'm looking for at my trying to find here, it's right at my fingertips, is the Game 6 box score. I've got some of the articles and some of those right here in the booth, but ran out of window space. Just have to bring my tape for Monday and tape up the entire wall beside me with highlighted notes. But this is, without a doubt, the best scenario, and a near line shot down the right field line. You could hear the oohs from the crowd at how close that was. But now it turns the opposite way. Barlow is close to being retired. It's now 0-2. Crowd starting to work itself into the ball game here tonight. A large crowd that has been pretty quiet. We had 1,700 in attendance for game 1. 0-2 pitch off the plate. That was a pitch where you're trying to get Barlow to chase. Chisholm at third after this single. Barry at second. Miller at first after the walk. And there's a swing and a miss. And there's the strikeout, and that's exactly what Maddox had to have. A very opportune moment to get your first strikeout of the day. And Drew Broyles, who will play baseball at Belhaven next year, stands in. His brother played at Belhaven and at Ole Miss. Pitch on the way. Curveball that loops in on the outside corner. Ton of movement on that pitch. It's tough to wait back on it, and then it just snapped in on the outside corner. Down and away, there's nothing not to like about that breaking ball. This one outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Good cut at it that time, but maybe an ill-advised pitch to swing on. Another good offering, no fear right now from Maddox. And so we're seeing that senior mindset take over. He works quickly, but misses. Deuce is wild across the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rally caps out. Pitch on the way and it hit him. We're tied. Broyles hangs in and gets hit by a pitch. Bases remain full. Chisholm scores from third, and we have ourselves a brand new ball game. So to the top of the order we go, and Chris Morgan, who flew out to right on the first pitch of the bottom of the first inning. Madison is a team batting .332 coming into this series. And for Morgan, batting .323, and he looks at that beautiful curveball. I think that's what makes Maddox so special. He has such command of that pitch that he'll throw it at any time. Keeps hitters off balance. That's what led to his perfect 4-0 record. 0-1, this was a fastball down, drilled to center field, but playing it perfectly, Chauvin to end the inning. Deep fly ball to center, a run on 2 hits, no errors, and 3 left on base. Each team has stranded 3 through the first 2 innings. So the second inning is in the books. We're tied at 1. And fans, don't forget you can watch this game on demand as you can go online to MISSHSAA.tv. That's MISSHSAA.tv. You can not only catch these baseball games, you can catch your favorite teams. You can go back and catch all of the championship action that's been throughout this 2011-2012 year as part of the MHSAA network. So we're tied at 1. We're getting exactly the type of pitching performances and exciting, highly contested baseball that we thought we would see. Madison manufacturing one in the bottom of the second inning, and so we transition to the top of the third, where Zach Irwin is back on the mound. So a lot of fans throughout the Magnolia State, throughout the country, throughout the world that are watching this game tonight, and they've read the stories, they've been following this series, keeping up with the articles, and they're going, whoa, wait. We thought Irwin was questionable. We thought he was day-to-day. Well, game time decision was something that I think Madison has kind of been keeping as somewhat of an ace in the hole. They thought he might be able to play. They sure didn't want to come out and say that, pencil him in, or even, well, I was going to say write him in as a starter, even pencil him in, and then him not be able to go, and that being another deflating element to this team. But being able to get here, knowing that he's a go, and him being able to come out and throw fastballs at 89, 90, even hitting twice at 92. So consistently being in that area. He's a live and die by the fastball pitcher, and he's had the fastball working tonight. Now, this Oak Grove team is a team that is very seasoned and skilled in hitting that fastball pitching, and so thus they have been able to get a run on 3 hits so far. Here's the pitch on 2-0. That misses, 3 balls and no strikes. Well, the percentages are very good if you get your leadoff man aboard on a walk. About 70% of the time in the majors, it comes back to bite you and lead to a run. Let's see how Irwin can adjust. Irwin needs a rally in this particular at-bat. The pitch. That one's in for a strike. Drew Stanlin is in the batter's box. Court Brinson is next. Tyler Odom to follow. The pitch. This one hit a ton, but popped up. More up than out into right center, and Broyles puts it away. So Stanlin 0 for 2 now. Court Brinson now comes in. So Brinson, who grounded out to first in the first, stands in, ready to go. Swings away and fights off a 92-mile-per-hour inside fastball. You've got to be able to swing the bat quickly to fight off that pitch. Brinson's power numbers very impressive this year. .461 hitter with 8 home runs. 8 home runs for a team that's hit 27. Madison as a team has hit 28. So both of these teams hit the long ball well. 1-1. Sweeping curve makes it 1-2. But to hit a home run here, you've got to put a little giddy up into it. 330 down the lines, 375 in the gaps, 401 to straightaway center. The 1-2 pitch went with a fastball again. So Irwin's not trying to overthink it or get too fancy. He'll mix in a changeup, he'll mix in the breaking ball, but he's staying almost exclusively with his fastball and trying to work it inside out. 1-2. Back inside. At 88, it misses to even the count. We're tied at 1. Top 3. And just getting a piece of that was Brinson. On deck is Tyler Odom. His RBI single plated Kirk McCarty in the top of the first inning. And Odom, who patiently waits as he loosens. That RBI number 52 of the year, which is staggering. 52 through 35 games. And a controversial call there, according to the fans. Runs the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Irwin wastes no time. And there's ball 4. Brinson aboard now for Odom, and let's see if we see a courtesy runner for the big guy. And it doesn't look as if we will. They're bringing Brinson over. They're bringing their coaching staff out on the field over, and Christian Chauvin, who was in the on-deck circle. As to what they want to do right here is Jerry Dupuis makes a trip out of the dugout to talk to his pitcher. So everybody gets together. There's a meeting of the minds. We saw both. Quick discussions. Jerry Dupuis, who spent so many great years with his partner in crime, so to speak, Brian Ray. Brian Ray was the head coach. Jerry Dupuis, the pitching coach last year at Ridgeland, as they picked up a 5A crown. Those two have been in the state championship finals in Mississippi. This marks their 3rd straight year. 2 in 5A with Ridgeland, losing to Long Beach in 09, or rather, in 10, losing to Long Beach with Ridgeland, defeating Long Beach with Ridgeland in 11, and now here in 6A, not 5A, with Madison, as the throw down to first, and in safely on the slide is Brinson. Ball and no strikes to Odom. Good snag over there at first by Barry. That throw a little off the mark. And you saw how close that was to getting away down the line. Pitch. And here's the runner going, and just nothing that Harbor could do about it. A stolen base for Brinson. I'm going to learn my lesson eventually. Going back to the last game, going back to Lewisburg and Purvis, there was one of the members of the 2 pairs of batteries we had, the catchers and pitchers, that did not courtesy run, and I was thinking, well, now why are they not bringing a courtesy runner to save the legs, until I saw them run around the base paths, and it was very apparent right there. You see Brinson and his ability to swipe a base. And Brinson, coming into this series, was only 2 for 5. So at least his 3rd stolen base of the year. Pitch coming in. And there's strike 2. Irwin's tempo slowing slightly. Endurance was something that was definitely more than just an afterthought when assessing what Zach could give you here in Game 2. These Game 3s for these series that were your Wednesday, Friday, potentially Monday series as the pitch comes. And a swing and a miss by Odom puts the second out on the scoreboard. But with the Wednesday, Friday, Monday, we're going to see, I feel, almost some carbon copies of Game 1 in terms of the pitching and defense that we can expect early next week on the 21st. We'll play no more than 3 games on Monday. That means if there are more than 3 Game 3s, that the play will stretch into Tuesday. Irwin, 91. And Chauvin barely missed, found it straight back. They can gear up for that fastball. They can pick it up, and they have got the bat speed and the quick hands to get to it. 0-1 in the turf, evens the count. If you're wondering why I keep saying in the turf, if you might not be able to tell if you're maybe on a portable device, maybe an Android device or some type of Apple device, whether the iPad or the iPhone, as the 1-1 pitch misses, we are playing on field turf. Field turf throughout. So you get a great look at the field turf right there. And it has aged well, like a fine wine, and is playing, especially this infield, as that one sliced way out of play. It is playing exactly like a dirt and natural infield would. Better look there. You can see some of the synthetic qualities to the shininess on that camera angle. 2-2, 2 outs, runner in scoring position. And a called strike 3 on the inside corner, and Chauvin can't believe it. He goes down looking on strikes, 4th strikeout for Irwin. And so no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. So we move to the bottom of the 3rd inning, where it will be 2, 3, and 4 due up for Madison Central. Lee Harbor, Austin Sanders, and Isaac Glenn. Harbor flew out to center. Sanders grounded out to second. And then Glenn popped up to the catcher. Great look at our Madison Central fans that are here tonight. Definitely into this one. Oak Grove, it's a mirror image. That group gets into it as well. We're tied at 1. We're getting everything. And before it's all said and done, I think we'll get a little bit more than we were expecting. Well, back on Wednesday night, McCarty got the only run he would need in the first. Oak Grove's first 3 batters reached base. It was an infield single by Drew Stanland. Pair of walks given up by Cole Barlow, and then Tyler Odom drove in a run on a fielder's choice. Odom drove in the run tonight, but it's not going to be enough. Madison came back in the top of the second. Back-to-back one-out singles by Chisholm and Berry. And then Chisholm coming in to score on a bases-loaded hit-by-pitch. So Broyles was able to bring him in. Here is Lee Harbor. Harbor looks at a breaking ball down low. Harbor, a .284 hitter, 27 hits, 20 RBI, 6 doubles. Here's the 1-0. In for a strike to even the count. Very close. It's been put as a strike on the scoreboard, but I'm not so sure that's not ball 2. We'll find out, won't we? Scoreboard shows 2-1 out and left. I didn't get any sort of signal from Scotty Adam behind the plate. So we'll find out right here. Up high, and it is indeed a now 3-1 count. That answered our question in a hurry. There have been less than a handful of times where we've gotten a little bit confused. Time by Harbor as he'll settle in. Pitch comes from Maddox, and the count is now full. McMurray in left, Chauvin in center, McCarty in right, Odom at third, Stanland at short, Worley at second, Bounds at first, Brinson behind the plate. Count full, ground ball snagged by Maddox. And he'll throw to first, and no chance for Harbor. We saw a play earlier in the game by Irwin. Maddox simply returns the favor. Well, it was the third inning in game one where Oak Grove added a couple of more runs. Could Madison find a way to add a couple of more runs here in game two? Or will Madison repeat the feat and maybe add to that? Here's a pop-up foul ball that lands on top of the grandstand, the overhang, probably a good 30 feet of overhang that shades this ballpark. Great venue for baseball if you've never been here. This was built to be a mini Shea Stadium. It was the home of the Jackson Mets in its heyday, opened in the mid to late 1970s, I believe 1976 it was. And so it has some years under its belt, but that just means, I guess, it's a little wiser, right? And that's why it got smart and put down turf, saved on all those expensive costs. Here's the ball, hooking foul. And almost to second base already was Sanders. But they did within the last decade. Putting down the field turf has made it more financially viable, and they have hosted game after game after game, even football games. If you can squint in a little bit, you can see that where Sanders is standing just outside the right-handed batter's box, he is standing on the 5-yard line. The third base line is basically the 5-yard line, and the 10-yard line, and then the pitcher's mound is basically on the 20. Here's a ground ball. Hit to short. Stanlin's got it. Unloads in a hurry. Nice play. 2 down. Well, nobody's really wanting to give an inch in this one. 1-1 our score. Both teams have scrapped for what they've gotten. And here's the pitch. And that one is down and away. Isaac Lynn, the swing he wanted back was the swing he was retired on. Pop up and foul ground to the catcher, and he cuts under another fastball from Maddox. And the count is a ball and a strike. Morgan Harbor, John Morgan Berry, and Kurt Chisholm were the 4 hits in game one. So this is a battle of 2 top 15 teams. Here's one that jammed Glenn as he turned on it. Odom comes up throwing the stretch, the dig, and the out to end the inning. Good grief, solid play by Bounds. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. 3 complete, and we've accomplished nothing. Madison Central 1, Oak Grove 1. We'll take a break. Back in a moment. You're watching the MHSAA Network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program and participate in the MHSAA network, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
A run on 3 hits, no errors for Oak Grove. A run on 2 hits, 2 errors have not cost Madison Central here tonight. Josh West with you as Stan Caldwell will be joining us here for the 4th inning as we roll right along here in this 6A game 2 of the best of 3. So is Stan, a writer and columnist for the Hattiesburg American newspaper out of South Mississippi in the heart of the Pine Belt, the hub city. We're glad to have him joining us here tonight. And Stan, you look at this game, you've had a busy day at the ballpark tonight, is in the fact that you've been here covering Purvis, you've covered up Grove, Petal has won championships here recently, Oak Grove has won championships here recently, Presbyterian Christian has done well, but again, Stan Caldwell joining us here. And Stan, this is not anything that people should be surprised about. It's a culture down there in South Mississippi.
It is. Baseball is a big deal in South Mississippi in the Hattiesburg area. They take it real seriously from beginning with the the 5-year-olds. I mean, you go out to the ballparks, the Tatum Park in Hattiesburg, at the Optimus Park in Oak Grove, out at Petal at their Optimus Park, and you see just hundreds of kids out there playing baseball. They just it's what they do. I mean, they take it real seriously. The parents get involved. They have the parents get good coaching. It's just like I said, it's culture.
And Stan, you've wrote many columns on this subject. It's something that, in a sense, you've kind of studied, and it's something for you that is got to be a joy to cover, because
I love
you
baseball.
get to see these guys go all the way through and play at the highest level, get to the show, which is amazing.
Yeah, and what's fun about it is, several years ago I covered a Dixie Boys state tournament over at Hattiesburg at Cameron Park over there, and the Summerall team had kids like Luke Lowry and Connor Barron, kids who that nobody knew about at the time, but these were good ball players. And then they suddenly they get into high school and they're winning championships. They're going to state finals. They're winning 67 games in a row. So that's you see these kids come up, and it's a joy to watch them develop and then go on play. Some of them play at the next level, some of them don't, but to see them mature and to get into the college ranks, it's a joy to watch.
And speaking of these guys like Luke Lowry, guys like Connor Barron, as who look down and see Brandon Maddox, another one of these Oak Grove seniors that will go on to play at the next level, but bounds after a ground out to second. Maddox slaps one back straight up the box for a single. But back to Lowry and Barron, a couple of guys that went on to Southern Miss. Scott Berry, it was one of the things that attracted him so much of why he wanted to follow in Corky Palmer's footsteps there. He makes life miserable on the other coaches trying to get in that area with what he's doing.
Well, because
there.
He knows
he can get those guys
He
there.
lives in Petal, and of course his son plays with Anthony Alford over at Petal High. And Corky did the same thing before him. That's build a fence around Hattiesburg, around the surrounding area, and don't let anybody else in. If you can keep those kids at home, you're usually going to have a pretty good baseball team, and that's the way it's been for Southern Miss.
The most energetic crowd we've had in this tournament so far are the tiny, close-knit, fiercely independent, is how they describe themselves, community of Nanawoya.
Yeah.
Where's the Nanawoya down in South Mississippi? Is it a Purvis? Is it a Sumrall? Is it somebody we're not even really talking about
Probably yet? Purvis, I would think, is probably the closest thing. It's a little bit bigger than Nanawoya. It's a 4A school, but it's a small town, close-knit community, fiercely loyal to their kids. Sumrall was the same way, although the last few years Sumrall's got to be more of a suburban school than Purvis. But yeah, Richton was that way for a few years. They've their TEAT program isn't quite what it was 2 or 3 years ago, but Richton was the same way. Those are all homegrown kids, close-knit community, small town.
We've got John Carter Sander standing in with a 1-ball, 1-strike count and a runner at first. Kelly Sander, his father's over there in the Oak Grove broadcast booth. I grew up watching Kelly on TV.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about us, buddy?
That tells us we're getting old.
I mean, this guy,
right.
6'3", sophomore, got a chance, as I talked about in his first at-bat. He's just one of these kids for both of these two programs we're watching tonight. They just develop, and every year they get better.
They just reload. They don't. Oak Grove hasn't been to the state final since 2007, but they've been right there. They've been competitive. They've had winning seasons, 20-win seasons. Of course, Madison. This is their. I think this is their 5th time they've been to the finals in the past 7 years. Petal was here for 3 years in a row and won the last 2 6A championships. It's just these programs that are good. If you're going to compete, you better develop good ball players, or you're going to be left behind, because they these good teams like Oak Grove, Madison Central, Petal, Northwest Rankin. These are programs that are not going to have bad years. If you're counting on a down year out of Madison Central or Oak Grove, you're going to be waiting for a while.
A swipe bag by Clay Nobles, the courtesy runner for Brandon Maddox. And a full count here to Sander, and he fights off an 89-mile-per-hour fastball to stay alive, and the count stays at 3-2. You're talking about in recent years, and Chris McCardle comes in, and it's a place you want to coach, but big shoes to fill of Harry Breland. he has just completely flourished in that
He
environment.
has. He really has done a good job in handling the pressure. It's a pressure cooker situation. You come in, if you don't get to South State Finals at Oak Grove, it's not a good year. And so he's got a lot of expectations, a lot to live up to. And like Harry Breland set a very high standard. 9 state championships. Some of the best teams that I've ever seen at the high school level, and so that's a high standard to live up to.
Mark Worley leans out of the way of the fastball offering from Irwin. Zach Irwin on the hill for Madison Central has not pitched in over a month.
He's looked good
after
today.
the injury. Yes,
I can't tell that he was hurt at all. And I mean, maybe those who've seen him pitch all throughout the year can tell, but he looks sharp to me.
It's got to be a deep breath for Mike Bianco up at Oxford to see this big lefty coming on, because here's a guy who is just only going to get groomed. I don't think you'll be able to recognize him physically.
Yeah, once he gets
into an eating
once he
and
gets
weight
in the
program.
weight room up there.
Oh,
Talking about Mike Bianco's weight room. I've had people tell me that Austin Knight, who was the catcher from Sumrall that went up there and played a lot this year as a freshman, true freshman. They tell me I wouldn't recognize him, that he's trimmed down. He weighs the same, but it's he used to be kind of, I want to say heavy set, but just thick as a catcher. He's not thick anymore. He's gotten in the weight room up there and has developed. He's gotten some definition to his upper body.
Here's Mark Worley now looking at a 2-2 count after that foul ball lands again on top of the grandstand and rolls out of play behind the grandstand into the concourse area. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A runner at second base after a Brandon Maddox 1-out single, a stolen base by his courtesy runner Clay Nobles. A base hit could put the Warriors back on top. And again, we see Worley stay alive. A ricochet into the stands. Good eye by the fans. I had taken my eye off of that baseball, only to see it head right back into the stands in front of us.
Good crowd here tonight. Oak Grove always travels well, and of course Madison Central, another program that travels well, and of course they're right up the road from their home.
Well, with the modern change of baseball, you look at baseball parks, I think it's something silly other than your Fenways and your Wrigleys. All the baseball parks in Major League Baseball are brand spanking new.
Yeah.
Within the last 10 years.
Yeah, the third oldest park in Major League Baseball is Dodger Stadium.
And was built in
62.
And then past that, here's one hit on the nose, but Glenn's got a beat on it, and we'll put it away. I want to continue on that thought as we wrap up this inning. Glenn gets the fly ball to center by Worley. No runs, no hits. I think there was no runs on a hit, and there was no runs on a hit. No errors, and 1 left on base. And so we're halfway through this one, tied at 1. But with that said, you were touching on atmosphere. Fans love to go to Trustmark Park, but I said if you weren't here last year for the game 1s, you don't realize what an atmosphere there is in this mini Shea Stadium built in the late 70s.
Yeah,
this has got great atmosphere.
It's got good atmosphere in the seating area there. It's all kind of closed in. One thing about Trustmark is that it's spread out,
back.
and it's not as compact, and the sound doesn't. The sound kind of it's so open, which is an advantage in one respect because it lets a little bit of a breeze throw in. But here the sound is amplified. It's all contained inside, and when you're down on the field and you hear the last out. I was here Wednesday night for the Oak Grove game, and I was down on the field getting ready for post-game interviews, and the noise level was like a major league game almost. Just the way the crowd was reacting and from both sides. Just a real good atmosphere. I was been real pleasantly surprised by the atmosphere here at Smith-Will Stadium.
Well, it's definitely something I know that I bet you'll make it to one of your columns here over the weekend.
Well,
how good the atmosphere.
It's funny you should mention that. I wrote my column yesterday, this paper. I was kind of dissing the park a little bit, talking about basically the field. And Hill Denson pigeon told me a few minutes ago before the game there. And it kind of didn't really fuss at me about it, but he explained his point of view about the all-turf field and how he thinks that's going to be the wave of the future. And he had some real good points about it. How well it drains. Of course, you can get heavy rain here, and 10 minutes after it starts, you're ready to play ball again. That's a big advantage. He loves the mound. He was talking about how the mound was delivered, and how he's experimented with the field. He loves the field. He was giving me a lot of good information about it. Kind of fussing at me a little bit about it, but in a good natured way. I've known Hill 25 years, and we go back a long way. So he wasn't wasn't upset or anything, but he was making his point. So I'm a fair person, and I listen to him, and I have to agree with some of it.
Well, something tells me that conversation will also make it into.
It will.
Oh yeah,
yes, it will. It definitely will. And because you got to, like I say, you got to be fair, and it's you got to give both sides of an issue, and especially in a column situation. So it was a lively conversation. Like I said, I love Hill Denson. He's a great guy. He was really the father of USM baseball. I mean, he was the guy that built that program almost from scratch. And of course, his name's on the field at Pete Taylor Park.
Pete Taylor Park, Hill Denson Field, absolutely. Kurt Chisholm leading things off, a 3-1 count, and he pops one up on the infield. Stanlin calls everyone off in shallow left and puts it away. And so Chisholm is retired. Chisholm had singled and scored in the second. Did not fare so well here as he pops up to short. John Morgan Berry followed by William Miller. Brandon Maddox has worked through the first 3 innings with a strikeout, a walk, has given up only 1 run on 2 hits. He has been so solid as the senior delivers.
Yeah, Brandon has, he's not quite as sharp today as he was in his last outing against Harrison Central. The last game out, he was unhittable. He threw a 1-hit shutout. Came real close to a perfect game in 6 innings. Was just unhittable. Had a sinker that was just deadly. And Harrison Central, a really good hitting team, and he made them look silly. Not quite as sharp tonight. There, Madison's been able to get some good looks at him. Has hit a couple of balls hard. But Brandon Maddox is a battler. He has he's got a pretty fresh arm. He didn't pitch a lot during the regular season, so he's pretty fresh, and that's a nice pitch right there.
Swinging over the top, John Morgan Berry. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th inning. We're still knotted up at 1. Josh West alongside Stan Caldwell. And Stan going to be with us here for just the next few moments. Stan, before we let you go, we'd be amiss if we didn't ask this question. You touched on the players that nobody knows their name yet or didn't know their name that you've watched come up through the ranks. Who are some guys right now that you know their names, you know their families? These are kids that we're going to have to watch out for, that there might be a name or two that we better listen for or watch out for. We're going to see this name.
Well, I'm not sure if he's Larson Barker from Petal had a great year, and nobody knew anything about him at the start of the season. Yeah, he stepped up as Petal's #1 guy this year. Kid named Tristan LeBeau, also from Petal, has real good stuff. Pitched a little bit earlier in the year, but everybody tells me he has got real good stuff, and he's got a real good pedigree. Of course, we mentioned John Carter Sander. He went to camp in Baltimore over Christmas holiday and was one of the MVPs. Just a big kid and a good hitter. So those are 2 or 3 that I want to keep an eye on for next year.
Nice snag by Maddox. Nice throw to bounds. That ends the inning on a 1-3 putout. The Jags go down in order 1, 2, 3. Stan, thanks for joining us here this
my
inning.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, your history and your background on Pine Belt Baseball. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
He's Stan Caldwell, and thank him for joining us here. As we want to remind you fans that you can not only watch the game tonight, but you can purchase copies of this game. You can go to MISSHSAA.tv, purchase copies of this game by going to the website so you can cherish these memories for a lifetime. And boy, what memories are we making? A 1-2-3 inning there in the bottom of the fourth inning. We're tied at 1. These two teams have combined for 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors were Madison Central's. And so Madison was able to infinitely score more than their series total with their 1 run. They had 0 in game 1 in that 4-0 loss. But Zach Irwin, their bell cow, so to speak, to use a football term, they're going to lean on him tonight. If he is continuing to feel good, they're going to stick with him. Madison Central, they were the 5A champs in 2009. Oak Grove, 5A champs in 07. The last time they won it, they defeated Madison Central in the championship. Top of the order due up here in the top of the 5th inning. Kirk McCarty, Drew Stanland, Court Brinson, 1, 2, and 3. As Irwin deals. That one came in on McCarty, and that one came high and tight. McCarty kind of checked his swing and kind of protected himself, and that hit the end of the bat, so it's 0-2. Very unfortunate situation there for McCarty, the way that ball came up and in at his hands, up in at his shoulder and his face. Instead of being with a free pass at first, it hit his bat, and he fouled it off the complete rear end of that baseball bat, the bottom of the handle. Now the count, a ball and 2 strikes. McCarty doubled, scored. Oak Grove's only run in the first on an RBI single by Tyler Odom. Grounded out to first in the second. Gets a jolt into this one, but again, they look good when they leave the bat, and then they fizzle in the outfield with these new BB-Core bats. Routine fly ball to Isaac Glenn in center field. Sanders in left, Glenn in center, Broyles in right, Chisholm at third, Miller is at short, Morgan at second, Berry at first, and Harbor behind the plate. Irwin deals a first pitch that barely missed. Stanland's 0 for 2, struck out swinging in the first, flew out to right in the third. 1-0 pitch, a little bit of a wild one that time. So 2 balls and no strikes. Irwin working fairly fast and delivers a strike. Promised you Irwin's numbers and I did not get those to you. And I do apologize. Get those to you here. Irwin at 2.10 earned run average. Opponent's bat just 127 against him. He has worked in 40 innings coming in. He had faced 169 batters coming into this series, given up 14 runs, 12 earned on 19 hits, given up just 1 home run, 83 strikeouts against 16 walks, and now he's at 88 strikeouts against 17 walks. Very solid number there. He's thrown 8 wild pitches. This just, well, that number is not right. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 7-8 starts this year. But a 4-2 record. This is his 10th appearance. And he has worked 4 complete games. They're looking for another complete game here tonight. Counts now 3-1 to Drew Stanland. Drew looks at his strike on the outside corner, taking on 3-1. Stanland, 324 hitter, 26 RBI, 3 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 36 hits, 39 runs scored. And there's ball 4, a 1-out walk issued to Drew Stanland. Court Brinson now. Comes up having grounded out to first and walked. Does have a stolen base on his resume here tonight. First pitch on the way. And Irwin works ahead in the count. Well, the students, they don't grasp the magnitude of the situation. They're cheering on their team, and they're kind of bulletproof, all the students. Well, all the parents and the fans and the grandmamas and the aunts and uncles and the grandpas, they understand, and there's a lot more people chewing on their fingernails than there are cheering in this stadium right now. Great crowd, packed stands, but quiet, waiting to erupt. 0-2. Brinson was not chasing. As we continue to move along, you feel like the next team that could score could hold on. Ground ball could be 2. Bobbling it, and error. When he bobbled once, if you're a Jaguar fan, your stomach or your heart rather, just kind of had to fall, and boy, did Zach Irwins just did. You can read it in his body language. He just bent over and kind of put his hands on his knees and looked down at the ground and just kind of let a big, deep sigh of disappointment at the error by Morgan. Chris was trying to underhand flip to Miller, who was coming to cover the bag at second, and that has Brian Ray coming out to talk to Irwin, and Brian Ray saw the same thing I saw, and that was the disappointment on the face of Irwin, and Irwin is red hot livid. Just disappointed. Frustrated as he leaves, and not 100%. He'll hand it over. And on the heels of us saying that we were hoping he could go a complete game, we're keeping our eye on him to see his reaction as he goes into the dugout, and he's just off camera, and we'll only can just wonder if that's for the best. But now we bring in a young man in McCann, who is their submarine guy. And let's get you McCann's numbers here. McCann, a 2.38 earned run average. Opponents have a 1.75 batting average against him. He's worked in 35 1/3 of an inning. 22 runs, 12 earned on 24 hits. A record of 4-0 with 1 save. And this will be his 19th, or check that, this will be his 18th appearance of the season. And it is Austin McCann in to pitch for Madison Central. What Madison Central has just done by pulling Irwin and not wearing him down, this is something in the lower body with Irwin, so in the legs. So it's not Zach's arm. So 3 days rest if you force a game 3. And a full 3 days rest means you could, if the soreness is gone, maybe an inning, maybe 2, maybe 3. Zach kept his pitch count fairly under control. What was pretty obvious by that whole exchange, they saw him a little visibly frustrated. So they saw that outward expression of what he was feeling on the inside, maybe a little rattled after that third error. But maybe he was on a pure pitch count tonight, and it just so happened coincidental. Here's a ground ball back up the middle. McCann's got it for 1 on a first, double play. McCann redeems himself. Or check that, Morgan. McCann got the ground ball. Chris Morgan redeems himself. Morgan to Berry, double play. Just like that. So after the E4, the unassisted 4-3 double play ends the inning. Or I should have just said 4-3 double play ends the top of the 5th inning and keeps this thing at 1-1. So a ground ball pitcher in McCann comes in, evokes the ground ball, and Maddox back on the bump for Oak Grove. Just like that, things change. The theatrics were just cranking up. So no runs, no hits, and error and no one left on base. 5 stranded through 5 innings at the plate for Oak Grove. And so here comes Cole Barlow, Drew Broyles, Chris Morgan. 8-9-1 due up here for Madison Central. Madison Central in their Game 2 win back in 2010 against Petal, they were down 5-0 going to the bottom of the 4th inning. Got 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th, then put the 2 across to get 6 runs on 7 hits and to knock off Petal by 1 in that game. In this game, Madison knotted up. And here comes Cole Barlow. Cole Barlow stands up to the plate. 0 for 1 on the night with a strikeout swinging. Trying to go back and dig up the stats from game 1 for those hits. Here's the 1-0. That rolls foul. And the count evens. So a ball and a strike as Barlow steps back in. Barlow indeed looking for his first hit of the series for a Jaguar team that came in ranked 12th in the state. Oak Grove comes in ranked 3rd. One ball, 2 strikes to the designated hitter. And that one outside and low. 2-2. Drew Broyles on deck, then Chris Morgan, who turned that 4-3 double play. The pitch comes in and a called strike 3. Barlow knew it, and he heads to the bench. 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. 3rd strikeout of the game for Maddox. Fastball at 84, blown past Broyles on a late swing. 0-1. Broyles hit by a pitch, which brought in Kurt Chisholm for Madison's only run to tie it at 1. There's strike 2. Broyles quickly in the hole. We play 7 in Mississippi high school baseball, which means we're getting to crunch time. Breaking ball. And Broyles swings right over the top of it. 3 out of the last 4 batters retired via the strikeout for Brandon Maddox of Oak Grove. Chris Morgan now at the top. Gets hit by a pitch. He heads to first joyfully. He stood in there, hung tough, took it, and here comes Lee Harbor. Harbor, 0 for 2, flew out to center in the first, grounded right back to Maddox on a 1-3 put out in the 3rd, so 0 for 2 on the day. Getting loose is Harbor. And again, it's amazing that this stadium just keeps getting quieter and quieter. And the guys back in the truck, they're probably wanting to turn up the mics on the crowd just to see if is anybody still in the stands. They're back in the truck. They might get their eardrums blown out whenever that big play happens, that whether it's the deciding game play for Madison Central or the deciding series play for Oak Grove. 25-10 MC, 33-3 Oak Grove, and they get the runner leaning, throw down to second, and that's the pickoff to end it. 1-3-6, and Morgan goes down. What a roller coaster emotions for Morgan and the Morgan family. The error, then the double play, now picked off. As we wrap up the fifth, we're tied at 1. Warriors and Jags trying to play on to the sixth. We'll take a break. Back in a moment. You're watching the MHSAA Network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program and participate in the MHSAA network, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Indeed, there are fans in attendance tonight, but they are very nervous. We've got the largest crowd of this tournament overflowing out of the chairback grandstand into the bleachers to see, will Madison Central extend or will Oak Grove end it here tonight? Oak Grove looking for their 10th, Madison Central looking for their 3rd, and Madison Central has taken the baseball out of Zach Irwin's hands and put it in the hands of their submariner, Austin McCann. Austin McCann will get to start his first full inning of work after turning the 4-3 double play, evoking the ground ball to work out of that inning. Brandon Maddox has faced the minimum the last 3 innings and has retired 10 out of the last 11 he's faced, but then got the pickoff. So McCann, the long stride as you see. And coming out to talk to him will be Harbor behind the plate. 1-1 our score. We thought we'd see some of, if not the best pitching of this championship in this series. Both teams have not disappointed. Here's a swing and a miss, and the count is now 1-1. It is Christian Chauvin, who's 0 for 2, line out to second, struck out looking. Has been his evening. Going back to the clincher in the North State Championship round against South Haven for Madison, it was this Austin McCann who combined with Leighton Dill for a 5-hitter to keep the Chargers at bay. Now with a 1-2 count against Chauvin here in the top of the 6th. Chauvin just gets a piece of that one to stay alive. Nervous crowd right now. A lot of anxious energy. Chopper over the pitcher on the infield. Charging, throwing, not in time. There's that crowd coming to life. Infield single for Christian Chauvin as he beat it out. Nice play by Miller charging, but no play on Chauvin. He's aboard at first base, and here comes Jansen Bounds. Be careful with Bounds right here. Bounds has got a big stick. 243 hitter, but has homered 3 times. 16 runs batted in of his 17 hits. So he's not gotten a hold of the baseball as frequently as he would have liked. Shows bunt here, pulls back, takes a strike. But when he has gotten a hold of it, he has gotten a hold of it. If you're wondering about Madison Central in this tied affair, where are they going in their batting order in the 6th? Well, they're going 2-3-4. Harbor, Sanders, Glenn, followed by Chisholm in the 5 spot. 2-3-4, and then possibly 5 Runner goes. Pitch down, throw up towards second, not in time. Swiped bag by the center fielder. Now a base hit could give Oak Grove the lead. Couple of flashing cameras after that play. Again, fans, we touch on it every game, but don't forget, as this pitch comes in, the bunt, ran it right in on his hands. That would have been a hit batter had Bounds not been squaring. So the count, ball and 2 strikes here to Bounds. McCann going to spin, throw back to second. Chauvin is back in safely on the slide. But again, you can go back and watch this on demand at MHSAA.tv, where you can also purchase those DVD copies, so you need to go there. 1-2 pitch, this one pulled foul. Got around on that one, but out in front. One ball, 2 strikes. Chauvin at second as the drama unfolds. Breaking ball that hung up and one that Bounds just missed. Able to swing away with 2 strikes here. This is probably where he feels the most comfortable. McCann deals. This one slapped back up the middle. Base hit, rounding third. Here comes the throw from Glenn, cut off, and the run scores. And Oak Grove grabs the lead at 2-1. High fives for everyone in the stands. Fist pumps, hugs, and cheering. And the OG flags are flying. It's a 2-1 ball game. Oak Grove's on top. And so Madison Central, some of the infield guys like Morgan and Barry coming over to talk to McCann and tell him that there's a lot left in this one. Hang tough. As well as it seemed like that McCann has battled in this inning, there's still nobody out. A pair of singles. And now for Bounds, there is a pinch runner. Boyd Blanton, the sophomore, is in the pinch run down at first base. And here comes Brandon Maddox. And if somehow Bounds gets over to second base, or rather Blanton for Bounds, you'd have a feeling that Maddox would seize the moment and bring that young man in. So the Warrior chop is going on in the stands as we speak, down to the student section. 2-1 Oak Grove. They've got a chance to be the initial state champion in this series. 1A's going 3 games, 4A's going 3 games. 6A is up in the air. And a first pitch ball to Brandon Maddox. Maddox, a single and a strikeout, 1 for 2 on the evening. McCann will throw down to first. Back in plenty of time was Blanton. Two runs now on 6 hits for Oak Grove. How good has Maddox been as he stands in at the plate? He's given up 1 run on just 2 hits. Madison Central has had the 3 errors, but they have not cost them in this game. The 3 errors have been made up for by some other spectacular plays like the 4-3 double play. Another throw down at first, drawing boos from the crowd. Now all of a sudden, those Oak Grove fans that were so nervous, well, now they can taste it a little bit. And now let's go ahead and play this thing. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. We've got the lead. Let's get 6 more outs and take it to the house. Not so fast. Maddox ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. There is action down in that Oak Grove bullpen. John Carter Sander is down there. Stephen Pappas is down there as well. 3 balls and no strikes, and Jerry Dupuy is going out to the mound to talk to McCann. So getting down into that bullpen. 2 guys that are just soft tossing right now, and Pappas and Sander. And we can only wonder as to what Jerry Dupuy is talking to McCann about. Well, we glance down and there have been bodies activated into that Madison Central bullpen. Trio of guys are going down there right now. Brad Coleman is going down there. Also Leighton Dill, and also looked like, thought I saw Cole Barlow down there. He's down there, but just as a spectator. So it is Leighton Dill that they would be loosening up right now if they need to go with them. Boos from the Madison Central faithful as the count moves. And there's ball 4. Or rather the Oak Grove faithful. Thought that was ball 4. Nonetheless, there is ball 4. So runners now at first and second base. Blanton for bounds. Maddox is there. And let's see if Nobles has slipped in. It is. So Nobles is back in for Maddox. There's a pinch runner at second, a courtesy runner at first. The joys of high school baseball. Keeping up with those substitutions, and as guys come in and out much more frequently than they do at any other level of organized baseball. Something that takes some getting used to, but it does. Here comes Stephen Pappas. Pappas is in to pinch hit. So Pappas was down there loosening with Sander down to the bullpen. I think they were just getting Pappas warmed up to bunt, it appears. Just trying to get him not so stiff coming straight out of the dugout in the 6th inning of a ball game. So instead of taking a lot of cuts, he took some throws. But now Pappas in an 0-1 hole. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Critical situation for the Jags. Here's the pitch. And this one dinked back foul. It got stuck on his bat. Almost as if he had something sticky that just absorbed that baseball to the bat. He was trying to just deaden it and kill it. And boy, he did a good job. Too good. No balls, 2 strikes. Warriors trying to open it up. Jags trying to start to close it down a little bit. The pitch, the bunt, push down, foul. It hit him, and he's out. So close for Pappas and the Warriors. So close. So now runners stay at first and second. That was a big out for Madison Central. Mark Worley now comes up, the second baseman. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. I might have just got a piece of that one. Again, Harbor, Sanders, Glenn for Madison Central in the bottom of the sixth, and they'll be playing from behind tonight. McCann deals. This one hangs up, hit a ton, high and deep to left, and this one going to go all the way to the wall. It's a carousel of Warriors. 2 runs will score, a 2 RBI double for Worley. And it's a 4-1 ball game. Worley hit that one almost out of the ballpark, about 375 feet out. That one went about 365. One hopped the wall, and despite a diving attempt and a quick relay by Sanders, it was not enough. And for Worley, those were RBIs number 15 and 16 on his 4th double of the season. So Oak Grove is up by 3. And to the top of the order, the Warriors march. To Kirk McCarty. McCarty is ready. Here's the pitch. That one's a strike. Boos coming again from the Oak Grove faithful. Pitch comes inside. And the count evens. Here's the 1-1. Here's a ground ball. Base hit. Sneaks through to the right side. They're waving in from third. Worley, the throw pulls Harbor up the line. McCarty stays at first, but an RBI single. And Oak Grove is up 5-1. So Oak Grove has come alive here in the top of the 6th inning. Four of the first 5 batters that came to the plate have come in to score in this inning, and here comes Drew Stanland, who is 0 for 2 with a walk, as Coach Ray is on his way out to the mound, and he is going to look into left field to Austin Sanders. So that is all for McCann. He will leave this game having faced just 7 batters. 5-1. Well, you got to applaud. One thing you got to applaud, it would have been so easy to just lean on Zach Irwin. Irwin, though, not 100%, despite what he looked like here tonight. And to, again, I feel like it was complete coincidental that there happened to be an error. I think he hit his pitch count. I think he was pulled. Knowing that staff, I think he hit his pitch count. He was pulled. He gave them what he could. And things have not gone so well since the departure of Zach Irwin. And so here comes Austin Sanders, and that means there'll be a new face out in left field. And so heading out to left field will be Cole Barlow. So Barlow goes out to left. All this damage done here means that Zach Irwin gets a no decision. And right now, in line for the loss would be McCann. And so on the bump is Austin Sanders. Let's get you Sanders' numbers here as he continues to loosen in a game that the door cracked open And then Oak Grove has kicked it in. Wide open. Sanders, a record of 3-3 on the season. This will be his 10th appearance. For Sanders, a 9.15 earned run average. Opponents bat .312 against him. He's worked in 20 2/3 of an inning. Given up 31 runs, 27 earned on 30 hits. He struck out 25, walked 13. He did have 6 starts, a complete game, and 2 shutouts to his credit this season. 5-1, and still only 1 out in the inning as McCarty brought in Worley, and Worley had the 2 RBI double. So here's a first pitch that is a wild one. Going over to second base now is McCarty. 5-1. 8 hits now to 2 for Oak Grove over Madison Central. Squaring around is Stanlin, and he pulls back. 2 balls and no strikes. Sanders, fastball, moves the count to 2-1. Seems like we've been previewing the bottom of the 6th for a while for Madison Central fans when we knew that they were going to be playing from behind. Harbor, Sanders, Glenn, 2, 3, 4, then Chisholm at 5. Counts now moved to 3-1 on Stanlin. First base is open, but you don't want to put him there. Now you're getting into the meat of the order. Stanlin's in the 2 spot. Brinson Odom. This is exactly what Madison Central wanted. Here's a hot shot that is just foul. Oak Grove says seize the moment so far. And that anxious murmur has given way to a the word that I'm looking for is right there on the tip of my tongue. But it's that murmur of expectation as Stanlin swings and misses and is retired and takes that walk back into the dugout. Here comes Court Brinson. He's their power hitter. 0 for 2, reached on an error. Grounded out to first, has a walk and a stolen base. Sanders, this is another one that pops away from Harbor and allows McCarty to advance to third on the wild pitch. So a couple of wild pitches for Sanders, who might be trying to overthrow just a touch. Sanders is set. Pitch comes in. So now 2 balls and no strikes. Brinson in the 3 spot, then Odom, if he were to come to the plate. If Brinson can keep the inning going, Odom would represent the 9th batter of the inning for Oak Grove. Pitch. Down and away. Three balls and no strikes. The pitch. And now 3-1. Madison will need at least 4 at this point. Oak Grove looking for more. They've got another insurance run 90 feet away, and This is the guy they want at the plate. 3-1 offering. Ball 4. Now runners at the corners. And here comes Tyler Odom. Now Tyler Odom has been Mr. Clutch. Again, we had hinted on his RBI numbers at the top. He's already had a run batted in this game. His numbers simply astounding. 52 RBI, 47 hits. He's not counting his game 1 numbers. These were the stats coming into the series. He's had 17 doubles this year and 7 home runs. Odom and Brinson have combined for 15, count them, 15 home runs. Odom steps out to reset. Big situation for Sanders. Give the Jags hope right here. Pitch on the way, hit on the nose, but looping line out in a diving play by Millard in the inning. But 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. Oak Grove needs 6 outs, up by 4. As we move to the bottom of the 6th inning, where Lee Harbor, Austin Sanders, and Isaac Glenn await. Well, it was 7th inning heroics in Madison Central's last Game 2 championship win to force a Game 3. That was against the Petal Panthers back in 2010. That year, the teams were almost identical in terms of record. Madison Central was 31-4 when that series ended. Petal finished the year 30-4, so they finished the year with almost identical records. Petal as the state champions, Madison Central as the state champion runner-up. But this year, it's a Madison Central team who got here getting hot over the last month. And so this should be the start of good things to come for that program in Game 1 of the Brian Ray era. For Oak Grove, as we look at one of the Oak Grove Warriors, that being Brooks Beckton, the senior who was standing out surveying everything. As we look at Oak Grove, they're trying to put the wraps on an even 10, and they're 6 outs away. A 4-run top of the 6th inning is now given away to a bottom of the 6th, where you just have the feeling that Madison needs to get something going right here. They're going to make it happen. With that said, this is the opportunity for Brandon Maddox to step up and shut the door. First pitch comes in. Fastball up and in. It's now ball and no strikes to Lee Harbor. Harbor, Sanders, Glenn, and even Morgan. Top 4 in the order combined 0 for 8. But the count is now evened up at a ball and a strike. Here's the pitch. Harbor leading things off. Pitch coming in. Swing and a miss. And so Harbor is retired on strikes. The woes of the top of the order continue. The only time the top 4 has reached was on a hit by a pitch. It's not only been them, only 2 combined hits. One by Chisholm, one by Berry. And that was in the 1-run second. It's been the only offense in this series. Madison Central 1 run on a combined 6 hits. Through right now 12 1/3 of an inning. Count now at 1-1 to Austin Sanders. What Maddox is doing with the limited role he's had this year on the mound is very impressive. Another curveball in there for a strike, 1-2. Maddox, a 1-hit shutout and a 10-0 win in Game 2 of the 6A South State Championship over Madison Central in Oak Grove. Now on the road in his next start. Right back to work. 1-2 just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two. This one hit over to first. Coming up with it, putting it away is Bounds, and there are 2 away. So here comes Isaac Glenn. Glenn popped up in foul territory to the catcher in the second, to Brinson. Then grounded out to third on a 5-3 putout. Oak Grove just digging in and not budging an inch. And there's a strike. And Maddox is what appears to be just worked himself into a good lather. Here's the 0-1. This one pulled foul, 0-2. Over the last 3 2/3 of an inning, Maddox has faced the minimum. Set down the Jags in order in the 3rd and the 4th. Trying to set them down in order here. And faced only 3 last inning because he got a 1-3-6 pickoff. 0-2. That one just missed. Great job by Brinson behind the plate to frame it. He set up about a foot outside off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The crowd did a good job to try to sell that pitch. 1-2, swing and a miss. Got the fastball right past him. And this marvelous Oak Grove run continues. Now 6 strikeouts in the game for Maddox. And Oak Grove is 1 inning away, 3 outs away. 6 innings in the books. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. And for the 3rd time in the last 4 innings, the Jags go down in order. So here we go as we turn the page to the 7th inning. Josh West with you here from Smith-Will Stadium. Our crew stretched across the diamond from the truck to the cameras, doing a fantastic job. So we're putting the wraps on another exciting day. Greenville St. Joe rallies past Nanawoya to force Game 3, 11-8. Lewisburg dismantles Purvis 10-3 to force Game 3. And Madison Central on the brink of elimination will be down at least 4 going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Austin Sanders back on the bump. And so you look at the finish line for Zach Irwin. Zach went 4 1/3 of an inning, striking out 5, walking 2, giving up 1 run, that earned on 4 hits. Then giving way in relief to Austin McCann, who got a 4-3 double play to end the 5th, get out of a jam, but then got hit pretty good for 4 runs on 4 hits and was pulled. And here's Austin Sanders. Meanwhile, Brandon Maddox has just been spectacular. He's given up a run on 2 hits, that earned. He's worked 6 complete innings, striking out 6. 1 walk and 2 hit batters. And here is at the plate for Madison Central. This is Christian Chauvin. Chauvin, for that foul ball, has a 1-1 count. As an infield single, a stolen base, and a run scored. To his credit, part of a 1-for-3 day. Slabs this one to right. This is a fair ball. It gets down. So be cut off by Broyles. Big turn, though, by Chauvin. Throw comes in, and Chauvin was able to hit the air brakes and then turn back into first. But you got to love the way he sold it, coming around the bag at first. Forcing the issue. Forcing a quick throw by Broyles that might have been off the mark. It was wide open, and then all of a sudden stop on a dime. So a pair of hits now for Chauvin in this one. Here is Jansen Bounds as he takes strike one. Bounds a single. And then his courtesy runner Blanton scored. Bounds 1-for-3 in this one. Oak Grove looking for some insurance. Runner goes. It's up and away, and then losing the footing that time was Harbor. Harbor tried to plant. I hope he didn't hurt himself. That was strange. Easy stolen base. Harbor seems to be okay. Puts back on his face mask. 9 hits now for Oak Grove. Pitch comes in, a wild one. And so now an insurance run is 90 feet away. Two balls and a strike. 5-1 ball game. Sanders the pitch. This one, blooping liner, diving stab made by Miller. Good job by Miller backing up Chisholm on that one. Chisholm dove, was over his mitt. Miller dove and got the out. Heck of a play. Madison Central, who saw their 8-game winning streak snap in game 1. On the brink here in the 7th, down 4, trying to keep it at 4. Infield pinched in as a long, towering fly ball will settle deep out of play. Brandon Maddox, how good has this guy been? You know he wants to give himself just one more run of insurance. Pitch, jammed him right back to the pitcher. Sanders looks the runner back to third and gets the out. Nice job by Sanders. The 1-3 put out retires Maddox. And here comes John Carter Sanner. Check that. Stephen Pappas, Pappas, who pinch hit for that spot in the 6th, is staying in as the DH. Chopper on the infield. Tough play. Chisholm's got it throw to first in time. Saves a run. Beautiful play by Chisholm in the inning. No runs on a hit. No errors. 1 left on base. There have been 8 stranded in this game by Oak Grove. It's 7th inning stretch time. We'll see if we can't listen in a little bit. Well, that Madison Central crowd, they are definitely keeping their spirits up. It's not over till it's over. As we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, Oak Grove on the brink of number 10. It will be Kurt Chisholm, then John Morgan Berry, William Miller scheduled to be due up here in the bottom of the 7th. And it was Chisholm and Berry who each singled with one out to start the game's only run in the 2nd. So here comes Kurt Chisholm. He just had that great play in the field to save a run and end the 7th. What would have been an infield single, he took it away from Sanner. The first pitch misses for ball 1. Madison's got to be patient, and they have to try to bring that tying run to the plate. Maddox wants to up the tempo and fill up the zone and force the issue. Make Madison get their bat off the shoulder, because they'll be patient to stand there and sit in and take. That last O you heard from the crowd was simply heat lightning beyond the right center field wall. I don't believe that would be any threat to us whatsoever. No thunder associated with that, just some of the excess heat from today being disposed of in the atmosphere. 1-2, and a strikeout for Maddox. 3 out of the last 4. Again, 6 out of the last 9 have gone down via the strikeout. He struck out 7, walked only 1, and hit 2. He's given up only 2 hits and given up just the 1 run, and Madison down to their final 2 outs. Nobody in these stands are going anywhere, though, as that first pitch comes in as a late ball call. 1-0. One's up high. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the 2-0. 2-1. Maddox working with a quick tempo. 2-2. Two-two pitch. This one pushed out into the bat towards first. Maddox covering, bounds the underhand flip, and Oak Grove is 1 out away. And the Oak Grove crowd rises to their feet here at Smith-Wills Stadium, as Oak Grove is trying to become the first team of this 2012 championships to pick up the trophy. There's probably the Oak Grove Diamond Girls that we just saw. First pitch comes in to William Miller, a strike call. Oak Grove looking for win number 34. They were the team to beat all season long, and they're trying to finish on top. 0-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. So it's a 5-1 ball game. Oak Grove students had flown out of the stands onto the top of the dugout. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's a check swing low and away. There was a swarm of people onto the dugouts. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. This could be the ball game. The pitch, swing and a miss, and Oak Grove is a perfect 10 here tonight. their 10th state championship, their 34th win of the season, as they get the perfect 2-game-to-none sweep, and they dogpile it between second and first. The Oak Grove flags are waving, the fans are erupting in the stands, and those looks, those smiles say it all. And then dejection on the other side. 5-1, Oak Grove wins it. And their first state championship since 2007. And that's when they knocked off Madison Central back in 07 at Trustmark Park. Great tradition taking place right now as we glance down on it. What a performance by Maddox. Finishes the ball game with 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, only 2 hit batters. For Oak Grove, Christian Chauvin gets a 2-for-4 night, 2 singles, a stolen base, a run scored. It was a 4-run 6th, and Oak Grove are your MHSAA Class 6A state champions as they begin their celebration. The teams will line up on the baselines now. They'll be awarded their medals and their trophies. Madison Central fans dejected, heading to the exits. Oak Grove fans are keyed in to how this one will wrap up. Brian Ray, a champion a year ago at Ridgeland, finishes as the runner-up in his first year at Madison, as he was 2 years ago at Ridgeland. But job well done in his first year across I-55 from Ridgeland to Madison, making the trek just north and just west to Madison Central. And then for Oak Grove, 34-3. Madison finishes the year at 25-11. Gutsy performance going out tonight of 4 1/3 innings by Zach Irwin, as Zach Irwin, the 5 strikeouts, gave up just the 1 run that earned on 4 hits. The loss tonight for Madison Central goes to Austin McCann, the senior, picks up the loss. So it's the last game for a lot of guys. Madison Central, guys like Glenn McCann, Harbor, Broyles, Irwin, Chisholm, Barlow, they go on to play college ball. Barry, that is yet to be determined. For Turner, that is yet to be determined. For Oak Grove, what a way to send off guys like Clay Nobles, Tyler Odom, Christian Chauvin, Stephen Pappas, Drew Stanland, Brandon Maddox, Brooks Beckton, Hunter Floyd, and Court Brinson, those seniors. What a way to wrap it up. So as we look into the presentation of the second place trophy to Madison Central High School, state runner-up, Don Hinton, Executive Director of the Mississippi High School Activities Association, presenting that to Madison Central head coach Brian Ray. And so here comes the first place medallions. Just an outstanding year for Madison Central. And for Oak Grove, can't say enough about how good this team is to carry that bullseye throughout the season and to constantly exceed expectations. It's what they did all year long. And it's hard to exceed expectations when you're picked as a favorite and you seal the deal. But the way this team did it was such a flair and such an efficiency down the stretch. Very impressive. Special thanks to Mississippi Sports Medicine for their support, their sponsorship of this tournament, and providing 2 trainers for every game. Again, final score 5-1. Oak Grove gets it done over Madison Central. For all the guys back in our truck, for Stan Caldwell, I'm Josh West saying so long. Oak Grove, a perfect 10 tonight. They pick up their 10th championship. So long from Smithwell Stadium in Jackson, Mississippi.